Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to Overcoach. So, today is going to be an interesting one. Overcoach is our series where we take a look at viewer-submitted VODs so we can review them, or I can review them, and whether they're better than me or worse than me, I can either learn or help them learn, hopefully, to try and get better at Overwatch competitive and try and climb the ladder. And today, as you can probably see on your screen, it's going to be an interesting one, because we've got Torb. Let's go. We all loved a bit of Torb, don't we? So we have Fanged Gecko here, and Torb. So let's talk about Torb a minute, just before we get into this, because obviously Torbjorn back along was a trolly pick. You know, a lot of people didn't use him unless it was very, very unique situations, like first point defensive Numbani. You could get away with a Torb. But very often he was regarded as a troll pick. These days, however, since his rework, and since we've gone into hero pools, we've seen Torbjorn have possibly some of the most relevant, and I mean relevant is a harsh term for it, but most relevant game time that we've seen in possibly ever for Torbjorn, actually. Because if you look at Torb at an Overwatch League level, he's actually being used as a pick to counter dive. Now, we're not really going to see that in this match, but at higher levels of the game, you may see Torb used to counter a thing like Sombra Tracer, because his turret is an absolute pain in the backside to kill when you're running dive, and if you don't kill it, it just peppers into you from the side, and it's just really, really annoying. And plus, with his overload now, he is incredibly tanky and incredibly sustainable. So he is incredibly difficult to kill for those divey heroes like the Tracer, like the Sombra, and like the Genji. Echo does a slightly better job because she's got high damage output, but generally, if he's got that overload available, you ain't killing him if you're that sort of hero. He has to have a lot of resources pumped into him to actually get him to go down, much like Mei. And that's why very often at higher levels of the game, and what we're going to see here, is you're going to see him played with a Mei, which offers so much ridiculous area denial. Like, you've got Torbjorn's Molten Core, you've got Mei's Freeze. It's actually crazy how much area denial it has. But very often you're playing with rush comps. You don't want to be playing Torbjorn with the Winston or a Diva or anything like that, because he's not a dive hero. Anyway, we're not going to worry about comps too much, because this is a gold Torbjorn. And when it comes to silver, gold, it's kind of get good at your hero. Don't worry too much about what people are playing, unless it is just blindly ridiculous, but you tend to get less of the blindly ridiculous these days because of roll lock. Anyway, should we get into this? We are on attack of Watchpoint Gibraltar, not a traditional Torbjorn map, but hey, I said that we're not going to be too... What is that Zen doing there? That Zen should be punished. Good, good. We got most of the damage on that. What I should say is, looking at the Batiste's username, he is got spaces in it, so that means it's probably console. But that's a really good pick to start off. I don't know why our Batiste used his immortality field there, but whatever. We're taking a fairly good position. We're using the corner. I really like that. Again, we've got no barriers up here, but I feel sorry for the rat. That's a trap, mate. That's a trap. Nice kill on the junk. He's placed another trap there. He's okay, I'll let you off. I'll let you off on that one. I know the reactions of a Junkrat. He just puts another trap. We're going to put a turret here. That's going to be difficult for them to do. Nice dink on the Mercy. I mean, she's being very ballsy there, trying to get that. We've rolled them. We've absolutely rolled them. I mean, they're playing Zarya Sigma. We're playing Rhine Sigma. We are going to have the better of the time there. Especially with double shield, we're going to be able to combat this Junkrat better. Get into him, make sure we stagger them on the spawns here. Hammer kill, hammer kill, hammer kill him, hammer kill him. Go for the hammer kill. Oh, we've lost him. Hammer kill, hammer kill, hammer kill. Unlucky. Gotta do it for the memes, gotta do it for the memes. Love it, love it, love it. But, good start. Turret on the payload. It's not too bad. I mean, we can find some cheeky spots for these turrets. Some really, really cheeky spots for these turrets. And the main thing with turret placement is to just make sure it is distracting. It's not necessarily for kills, because it doesn't do enough damage. Again, that's a good wall from our Mei, good follow up on the Sigma. This is a good use of overload to put the Zarya under pressure, but we haven't really done the damage to accept that, to make that count, I should say. Zarya just needs to die. Good dinks though. I think we should be using the shotgun though, rather than the rivets for that. It was within range in my opinion. Give the turret a little bang, because that's what we do. We don't do much of that these days, but there we go. And again, good shots on the Sigma. Sigma's staggered. Nice, nice, nice. We are absolutely rolling this. So, again, why have we used it? Why has he used Immortality Field? Jeez. He's used the Immortality Field. He would have saved himself. He would have saved himself if he'd not used the Immortality Field. Anyways, nothing we can do about that. Junkrat in the back line, so he's just going to get absolutely munched. Nice. Good job, good job, good job. There's a slam. Ooh, we've just blown our load all over the Zarya. Okay. So hold on a second, hold on a second, hold on a second. We're going to look at this, right? And I like to do this when thinking of Torbjorn. If we go up into the sky, I see your load everywhere. Our mage just died. But this actually is not the best coverage of Torbjorn's ultimate, because Torbjorn has a lot of load to use, so you can use it more widespread. I understand what you were doing with the load. I understand what you were doing with his ult. The Reinhardt shattered. You saw the Zarya on the floor. You were like, have it. And I understand that. You wanted to guarantee the kill on the Zarya, which is not a bad idea. She's very close to Graviton Surge. She's going to come back out with it, and that's something we have to be aware of. But this is literally 2 blobs of built-up goop. And we could have spread it out more evenly. You'll see a lot of other players at a high level do this, where they put a blob over there, they put a blob over here, they put a blob over here, they put a blob over here, they put a blob here, they put a blob here. They put blobs everywhere, because it's better to spread it out and get the tick damage. It's better to spread it out and get the tick damage instead of just you know, blowing it all, for want of a better phrase, instead of just blowing it all on one spot, which is really kind of what you did there. You just kind of blew it all over the Zarya. And anyway, we're going to get off that conversation, because that's going to a place that we really don't need to go. Let's continue with this then. So we should push them. This is a bit far forward, but we've just unloaded lead into Mercy's face, so that's good. Bastion. That's always something so we were punished for overextending there. We were punished for overextending there. We're going to win this, I think. We got too greedy. We just beelined for the Mercy. We absolutely beelined for the Mercy. We used our overload, and we were like, I'm having you, Mercy. Come here. And that's unfortunate. I can understand why you did it, but we went in front of our Reinhardt. We were in front of the whole team just to get that Mercy. And we ended up sacrificing ourselves, because, in all fairness, you're not always going to realise there's a Bastion waiting in the spawn doorway, but you were in the enemy team's basically clutches there, and you're going to get punished. Even with overload, I would hope that the enemy team should be good enough to punish that. And there, at the end of the day, considering where the payload is, you're right outside their spawn. It's going to take you a lot longer to respawn than it is them. We are not in overtime yet, where the overtime rules kick in for spawning. And so she's going to get back to that point a lot quicker than you are. So the 1-for-1 trade is not all that ideal. But we're going to move on here, because you've just got charged by the Reinhardt. And this is a lost fight. We just need to regroup and sort it out here. May needs to get out. May needs to get out. Using overload to speed up our return here. I don't think we really need to use that. We just need to hang back here and just spam that barrier and try and get some early poke. Build up an ult. Because we've actually got the Mei ult here, which should be able to see this out. It's a bit early to use that, I would have said, but that's fine. Nice, nice. Now we really should see this out. Nice observation that the Bastion is going for a big flank up there. We're going to go with deal with him? This is brave. We're abandoning the point here. We're not doing any damage. I understand you went for the Bastion. He should have killed you. He absolutely should have killed you. Oh, mercy, get out of that. He should have killed you there. That was very poor reaction from that Bastion. That's typically what I remember seeing from Bastions at this level. We've got the Reinhardt. If we can get... That's good spread of the load. That's good spread of the load. Very scrappy fight. Very scrappy fight. We're going to see it through though. So, I mean, I was going to say save the ult, regroup. That's a... Okay, to be brutally honest, that's a very gold fight. They shouldn't have necessarily lost that. They should have been able to sustain and then wait for reinforcements. So, they should be a bit disappointed. But you have rolled them with a massive time bank. 3 minutes in a time bank on Watchpoint Gibraltar is big. Very, very big. And a lot of players suffer from this. A lot of players suffer from this. The Anna was doing it slightly the other day. And it's just, you get tunnel vision. You get absolute tunnel vision. And you're like, I'm having that mercy. I'm absolutely having that mercy. And now that the bike outside has stopped revving all the time, you were absolutely going for that mercy. That was just complete, like... And it's good target priority. And if you were a McCree, targeting that mercy from distance, I'd be like, fantastic target priority. But a Torbjorn using overload, going into the back line and doing that, not the most brilliant of things. I'm not going to lie. If you were pushing up with your team though, it would have been alright. But you were kind of going alone there. You just went on a one-man trip for a mercy. That's what it was. And she was actually taking up fairly good positioning. She was fairly far back. That was a nice placement for the turret, by the way. I did notice that. Good target priority with the Zen. Nice dink on the Zen as well. It's nice that we're targeting healers. We've got a really good angle here as well. The Reinhardt barrier is doing nothing for them here, and the turret's getting work done. Their Reinhardt needs to be a little bit more cautious. I wouldn't have necessarily dropped down here. Oh, careful of the Reaper. Careful of the Reaper. We need our overload here. We need our overload here. Shotgun, 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 shotgun. Good backing off from the Reaper. I mean, he would have shredded us, but... Careful, careful, careful. No, 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 no. Don't want to be here. We have to back out of this now. Our Diva's demeched. She should die. Yeah. Our Reinhardt dying really hurt us there. And he's going to take longer to come back than they are. Again, nice use of overload to try and get back to the point quicker. We have to remember that it's on a fairly large cooldown, but once you get back, you're already halfway through the cooldown, so it's fairly fine. Nice use of the health pack. Nice use of knowing where health packs is. Our turret's not getting too much work done here. Big slam. Shotgun, 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 shotgun. That's better. I don't think you really need to use nano there, but whatever. So what I would probably do now, while we're waiting for them to respawn, is probably get to the high ground and put a turret up somewhere really, 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 really annoying. Or there. It's not too bad, actually. It's got sightlines of the high ground there. It's got sightlines of the low ground. And it's going to be a pain in the backside to hit. Not too bad, not too bad. I'll take that, I'll take that. We're getting close to an ult as well. We're also going to have Blade. We're also going to have a Diva Bomb. Who was that behind? It was a Reaper, if I was not mistaken. I don't know what this Zarya's doing. You could have pushed her. You could have pushed her. You weren't too low. There's a Reaper. Oh, spin to win. Oh, we used the ult. We lost our ult. That's unfortunate. I think that was somewhat of a panic ult in some respects. She should not have used her bomb. She should not have used her bomb. That is not value. So this is what I remember seeing this in gold. Like, you get nice dink on the Ash. you do get panic ults. Don't wake him. You get panic ults. This is actually not bad. This is actually not bad. This may seem like a panic recontest, right? But you forced ults out of them. You forced Zarya's grab. You forced the Reinhardt shatter. They've used Nano. They've used Bob. They've used Beyblade, whatever it's called, Death Blossom. So that's actually not too bad. You've got a lot of ults out of them there. Plus you've bled quite a bit of time off the time bank as well. They're going to struggle to match your time bank unless they get through this pretty quickly, the second part. Dink that Anna, dink the Anna, dink the Anna. Ooh, our aim let us down ever so slightly there, but it's console and we're not gonna. That's really frustrating that you couldn't get the shot on her there. Nice use of map geometry from the Anna, but she's in a crazy position. Like, just keep peppering her like that. She's gonna struggle to get work done. She's gonna get punished. We can go forward a little bit here. We've got the advantage because their Reinhardt's down. If our Reinhardt goes with us, not too far though. Not too far. Not too far. Our Reinhardt should be going forward here. We should be going forward with him, so that's not really your fault. But the Reinhardt should be proceeding forward and pushing the advantage. That Ashes stood still. I guess that's a throw. Just force him out. You're probably not going to kill him with Wraith. That was weird from the Ash. That's an interesting place to put a turret. Careful. Okay, ult's being dumped in here. Yeah. Yeah. So the Reinhardt got charged and then the other Reinhardt had shatter. That's a feels bad, man. In my opinion, it's not our fault there. We didn't push the advantage that we had well enough, but that's down to positioning of your tanks. The Reinhardt didn't move forward. If the Reinhardt had moved forward, you could have moved forward and got a load of work done. But everyone should be pulling back here. Everyone should be pulling back here. Don't worry about your turret. Your turret's going to do whatever it does, and you're going to replace it if it dies. Don't worry about this. No. Stop hammering. Stop hammering. Stop hammering. You're not doing any damage here. Don't walk out of the immortality field either. Be aware of whether you're... Ooh, don't wait, Bob. And that's spin to win. Although Diva Bomb's gone big, so we're actually fairly good here. But hammering on the turret there, just let the turret die. And then replace it. Because the turret was just in full view of everything. We should all have been pulling back there, including the Reinhardt, to regroup with the rest of our team and then have an engagement. Luckily it did work out for us in the end. We do have Molten Core again though. We're off on a jaunt here, but we should be okay because we have high ground now, and we're going to put the turret up Widow's backside. So that's quite funny. Oh dear. But yeah, that's a fairly good turret spot actually. If you've got time to put it up there. Obviously don't go... What the hell is Diva doing there? Okay, I would Molten Core this. Molten Core the payload. A bit late. It's okay, but it's a bit late. What I would have done is I would have done it a couple of... Ooh. You should survive this. Let's pull back a bit. Pull back a bit. But that was crazy overextension from our Diva, and at high levels that will get really punished. It's not your fault though. Again, Diva should get out. Get out, Diva! Oh lord. Oh goodness me. Oh god, the Reinhardt's gone off the lemon side with the other Reinhardt. What's going on? What is going on? What is going on? No. Back. From a distance with the rivet gun. Oh, turret's gone big. We are playing with fire with that Widow, by the way. Okay, Reinhardt. Oh, that's unfortunate. He's going to charge. Our Reinhardt really didn't help us there whatsoever. Our Reinhardt, I mean, if it happened to me, I would have stood in front of you. And I would have attempted, at least, to countercharge him. That was an absolute mess, that fight. That was a real big mess. From start to finish. And a lot of it is down to the D.Va. The D.Va is playing in front of her Reinhardt again. Oh, and she's the one that should be eating that ult. Oh, goodness me. Oh, but luckily the rest of our team has pulled through here. Okay. Hold on a second. Let's go back here. This fight is something else. Right. Let's see where we are here. Because this is where we've got Molten Core. We go to put the turret up, so let's just fast forward. We put the turret up. D.Va has gone so deep. We should not be... Don't worry if your D.Va does that. She is dead. She is dead. She's overextended. Doesn't matter whether she's got charged by the Reinhardt, because she must have been in a bad position to get charged by the Reinhardt in that situation anyway. She's dead. Leave her be. Let her respawn. Let her think about her life mistakes. Our Ana shouldn't be that far forward. She should be all the way back there. All the way back behind the payload. I don't know what she's doing in line with her Reinhardt, if not in front of her Reinhardt. Get back. We're behind our Reinhardt. This is fairly okay positioning. Right. Now. We have put Immortality Field up. Let's just look at this overall picture here. Right? Our Batiste is a little bit far forward for my liking. I'd like you and Batiste to swap places. That's what I'd like. But, he's just put Immortality Field up, right? They're coming in with, Shatter. And we have the only ult on our team. We've just popped Infrasight as well. We have the Immortality Field up. Go forward. Their Reinhardt is not in place yet. I don't know why our Reinhardt has a red barrier. The replay view has been a bit pega recently. But this is when I would Molten Core. Because I would Molten Core behind the payload, on the payload, in front of the payload. They can't contest the payload. So there's no way that Reinhardt is going to be able to get value out of a Shatter if he uses it. Because if he comes charging through the Molten Core, he's going to absolutely die. And instead, if we look at it from this angle, and in fact, actually, if I slow it down, if you look at it from this angle, he uses a Shatter. Good block from our Reinhardt, though. We've all moved out of the Immortality Field, so that's not really got too much value. And then we use the Molten Core into the barrier of the Reinhardt, so it doesn't spread out like we want it to. Remember that Molten Core is an area denial ult. So we could literally have it all over the payload here. And they wouldn't be able to contest it. And this Reinhardt would be dead. He's going to die anyway. We know that from what we've seen just now. But at the moment, it's just bouncing onto his barrier. And it's bouncing off. The problem is, this Reinhardt is then still walking forward. And I don't know why. But that's just happens, I guess. And he's just moving into the Molten Core alongside getting bashed by the other Reinhardt. We do get a little glob off onto the Zarya here. But we could have had it all across here. And all over the payload. And then these three guys are like, well, what the F do I do? I cannot contest this. They should be pulling back anyway now the main tank has died. And we have to remember that we're also purple here. But, yeah. I think this is what a lot of Torbjorns do. I've seen it a lot of times. Like, you're using Overload to go in here. You are overextending. You're feeding and overextending. Massively here. It doesn't matter what kills we've got. Both you and D.Va are massively overextended here. Because you're in front of your Reinhardt. Now, if your Reinhardt have gone with you, and you can debate whether this is your fault or the Reinhardt's fault. I understand what you're doing. You see the Zarya, you see the Ana, and you're like, let's get them. Let's get them. Let's stagger them. And that's actually the right thing to do. But if the rest of your team isn't going with you, especially your Reinhardt, it's very, very risky. Very, very risky. And better teams at a higher level will punish this. Absolutely punish this. This D.Va is bonkers. She's taken on a Zarya, who literally, your DM's doing nothing to Zarya. So, and now she's got a Reaper in her face, and she's just used a DM. She's all over the place. I don't know what this D.Va was doing. She was really, really not good. But you need to pull back here. You need to pull back to payload. But there are some definite good moments here. And I don't know what that's about. this whole last fight was just a very big mess. The only person that was doing exactly the right thing was this little lady here. On the high ground, no one could contest her, and she was winning the Widow battle as well. So, yeah, I mean, that last fight was very, very messy. But what we will say overall is a slight adjustment in the way you use your ult, I would say, would be an idea, because I think you could get much more value out of it. It's not necessarily always about getting the kills. It's about punishing if they are stupid enough to go into your Molten Core, because what your Molten Core can do is just absolutely create space for your team. And you could literally create the entire... You could literally take the entire space around that payload, and you didn't get the chance to. Same with when you blew your load all over the Zarya. You could have taken a lot more space. And I understand why you did it, but it's getting out of the thing of, I must get... I kill with this ult, I kill with this ult, I kill with this ult. It's not necessarily for that, it's more of an area denial ult. Maze is much more better at doing both. That's the thing with Maze. You can't move out of Maze ult. She locks you in place and she comes along and kills you. So that's the kind of the thing. The tick rate on Maze ult is much less, but the CC is much more. Torbjorn's is the other way around. No CC, but does actually significant damage. So think more about using your ult as area denial. Like, we haven't seen any brilliant cases of using it like this, but putting it in spawn doors and things like that so they can't come out of spawns. Especially on the last point of Watchpoint Gibraltar here, you can just gloop this door up completely, and like, you can fill this entire area on my screen here with gloop, and they have got no chance of coming out until that goes, because they're just not going to get through it. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, good opportunities to use Torbjorn's ult, and in terms of using him in comps, you know, it's not too bad with this. You got actually really decent value out of it. I think your turret placement was actually fairly good. I'm not going to lie. It was very difficult for them to deal with your turret most times. And don't get too one-sided at times with just banging on your turret like you did over here. Because it's much more value for you to be shooting rivets down and spamming rivets down rather than you constantly banging on that turret and the turret doing the work. The turret will always be more of a distraction than a killing machine. You are the killing machine, the turret is the distraction to make it easier for you and your team to kill. That's the way I see it with Torbjorn. And that's what's great about his turret in terms of countering things like Dive and Sombra Tracer, is that it is so pesky to deal with. They have to go and deal with it, they don't want to deal with it, and by the time they dealt with it, they're surprised the Dive has gone. And that's why he's so good at the moment at countering Sombra Tracer Dive. Really, really good. So, if you're a higher level player, I mean, if you want to play Torbjorn, go ahead, play Torbjorn. Just don't play him on ridiculous maps. And he's obviously good on control sort of maps. This is not the most ideal type, but if you think you can get value, and you do get value, then do it. But don't blindly play Torb if you're not getting value. It's all about getting value with what you're playing. And that's what Overwatch is about. If you're not getting value, perhaps think about changing it up, look at what the enemy team is running and say, I can get value by doing this. So, but if you're a higher level player and you see a team running Sombra Tracer and they are tearing your backline apart and you're a DPS player, think, maybe a Torbjorn's going to work. Because a lot of people will tell you that it will. And it very often will, because they won't be able to dive your backline as efficiently. But that's going to round it out for this one. This was actually a really fun one to do. I mean, Torbjorn doesn't come up that often. We see there's a lot coming up. We've got a Scrim one with Reinhardt. We've got a Sigma coming up. We've got all sorts coming up. It's going to be very, 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 very interesting, and I'm really, really loving this series. But this was a really interesting one to go and take a look at Torbjorn, because he's not... I mean, he's more meta than he's ever been. I'm not going to lie. He's more meta than he's ever been. But he's not perfectly meta. The meta is still like McCree, May, and Reaper May, and things like that. And you will still get a lot of value out of those heroes. But now and again, things like the Torbjorn, things like the Widow, can get a lot of value. And in this one, we've seen a Torbjorn get a lot of value. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.